There's going to be 3 murals. One will be in occupied Bethlehem at a youth cultural center. The second will be in Nazareth with a group that organizes Arab workers within Israel. The third mural, and really the central piece of this project, is going to be painted on the side of the new Rachel Corrie Peace Center that will be built by an international encampment from August 10th to the 22nd.
Well, we're here at Red Square, heading towards the 3rd floor, and this is a display of photos and some documents from a major project we did in Israel and the occupied territories. This was in 2003, after Rachel Corrie was murdered by Israeli Defense Forces. Rachel Corrie was a student activist from Evergreen State College in Washington, and she was active opposing housing demolitions as the settlers move into the occupied territories. Palestinian families are sometimes just given minutes basically to vacate their homes, and then they are bulldozed. And I painted this mural as a monument to Rachel Corrie in 2003, the same year that she was murdered. This building was destroyed for the 5th time in 2012. Rachel was very young, but her life was very meaningful. And she had actually gone down to Centralia and seen the mural that we painted about Wesley Everest, and had some interesting things that she wrote about it. She said, in Centralia, there's a mural of a lynched syndicalist agitator with black sabcats raining out of the skies and a fat capitalist pig with timbers stacked behind him. That's pretty great. I'm still struck by the Centralia mural project and the whole idea of visual reminders of represented history. And I am thinking about how we don't have this in Olympia. We have a lot of murals of whales, and that's fine. Whales are just fine. We are into the environment here. It's an accessory, but there's a big difference between whale murals and the mural in Centralia. Acknowledgement of repression, acknowledgement of conflicted history. Whale murals are pretty benign, end quote. She said that in the fall of 2001. In all 3 of the murals that I painted in Palestine, I painted them through a hole in the wall. The wall that basically separates Palestinian and Israeli workers. The central image is a dead caterpillar bulldozer that are used to plow down the houses. And there's demonstrators coming over the hills, basically carrying banners that say, no walls between workers. There's an image of people wandering aimlessly around on these hills here, which is basically people trying to figure out all the peace plans that are put forward for the Israeli-Palestine problem, which now is being put forward again as a 2-state theory. There will be no 2-state solution to the problems of Palestine.
I'm going to break the wall then.
Break it. Go ahead.
All right, this is what I always dreamed of.
I think that the only way is to demand a secular Palestine, Israel, secular whatever. I don't care what it's called.
What about 2 states?
I'm not for 2 states.
What? You're not for Palestine side by side with Israel?
No, I'm for 1 state. Well, I'm not for separating the Palestinian and Jewish people. The logic of 2 states is what we see now. It's to build walls.
One of the images also is railroad tracks going back to a home where they're rebuilding in the background. I used the railroad tracks in all three of the murals, not just because I was a railroad worker, but because it represents a brief period of time when railroad workers, both Jewish and Arab, were able to work together. In Haifa had a very militant history of struggle. Didn't last long, but I think it would be important to relearn that history. This mural was painted in the Beit Jibrin refugee camp in Bethlehem in the occupied territories. The central image is Handala, who is a popular Palestinian cartoon figure. He's this feisty child who is a refugee looking down the railroad tracks. On one side is an olive grove, on the other side are apple trees, and looking at bread and roses, which is a symbol of the labor movement and striving for not only economic justice, but a life that allows for leisure and culture. On the top it says "No walls between workers" in different languages. There's a book with Che Guevara there. And this was painted, again, to look through the walls in the refugee camp. The refugee camps are, this was not in Gaza, but the refugee camps here too are very densely populated. And basically they are like giant concentration camps. The third mural was a project we did with the Workers Advice Center, which is a group of Israeli and Palestinian activists who organize Palestinian workers, mostly in the construction trades. And this was painted on the side of a soccer field in the village of Kfar Kara. It was quite an amazing project, and it's documented in a wonderful film called Breaking Walls that was made about this project and about the transformative power that art can have when workers can get to be involved. Again, we're looking through the wall, and the central image is these giant clenched fists that are being constructed in brickwork, and banners again that say "No walls between workers," and there's other imagery involved as well. This was quite a remarkable project. These are a group of the workers and activists singing the International, the secular song of the working class, and it was very interesting to have this happen for people who think that the only resistance to Israeli apartheid is religious groups. That's certainly not true. We did have a labor delegation that came along, students, workers, received a lot of press coverage. Here you see Chris G meeting with Yasser Arafat at the time, head of the Palestine Liberation Organization. This project and similar projects that we've done in Northern Ireland and other places, we put together very broad sponsorship. This ensures the safety of the artists and the people who are involved in the project. People in areas like the occupied territories or Belfast and places like that take images very seriously. They take public art very seriously. And in order to make sure that we accomplish our goals without anyone being victimized, we basically organize broad coalitions to do it and get the approval of the tops so that we don't run into any problems.
Spectators. I believe in organizing everybody into struggle. Not a few people doing something very militant or violent or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, Mike is definitely radical in his way of thinking, but he's not, his work is like his art. That's what affects the people. It's not that he's not breaking up the wall, but maybe this painting will break the wall in some people's minds.